to welcome you all to the regular town board meeting. It's December 13th, 2011. Please stand with us for the pledge of allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Communications and reports. Anybody have any comments or questions about those? Really? Not?
All set.
Doug, Lou?
Nope.
Okay, then we'll open public comment. This public comment is for agenda items only. If anyone has a comment on the agenda, please stand and state your name and address for the record. We'll open the floor. Okay, no comments on the agenda. So we're going to move along. First thing I'd like to talk about tonight is a presentation by Mohawk Ambulance. It's not necessarily a presentation. However, Mohawk Ambulance has joined us tonight. I'll give you a little background to the situation going on. Some of you may have seen the article in the paper. If you guys recall, back in October, REMS sent us a letter. The letter stated that there would be a change in the way that they were serving or in the existing level of service to the town of Princetown, not really telling us what that meant. So I met with John Tobias and Wes Blessing, two of our chiefs from town. We went over some numbers they gave us. Apparently it was a financial issue. And as you guys recall, the last conversation we had with them was they wanted $22,000 to serve our town. We offered them $8,000 because our initial contract, $32,000, was costing the residents of the town about $444 a call. They were coming into town on an average of 6 times a month. That is a lot of money. So we went to them and tried to renegotiate the contract. They refused and only would take $22,000. We decided as a board that we thought that it was too high and didn't want to pay them, number one, and number two, since the town of Rotterdam's residents were paying nothing, why should the town of Princetown residents have to pay? So it kind of was left on the table. We did get a letter from them stating the service would change. I then received a letter last Wednesday from REMS, and they said the initial letter on October 18th said the service level would change after the first of the year. The letter we received last week said that it would change on the 12th of December, which gave us 5 days to figure out something. Last Thursday, I believe, I contacted Dan Gilmore from Mohawk. Mohawk has been here in the past and offered to serve our residents for no charge. So I did call Dan and asked him if the offer still stood, as we were put in a predicament, and they offered to be our primary responder to the town, free of charge. So Dan, if you could maybe just share with the board the kind of service that, or Rich, either one of you.
Sure, we stand up together, sure. Thank you for having us here tonight. We're an ambulance service, as you know, and we're also a paramedic level ambulance service, which REMS is not. REMS is a basic life support ambulance service. We would be honored and privileged to serve the people of Princetown if you want us to. There are some conditions that come with it. You have to understand our base is in the city of Schenectady, so on average our response time would probably be about 5 minutes longer to your town than what you're accustomed to with REMS, assuming REMS has a crew in quarters and is not, relying on a volunteer crew. They're calling in from home. So, but that's what we calculated. The average distance is about 5 minutes. As you had said, Supervisor, you're absolutely correct. We do not receive a subsidy from any other town or city that we serve, and we would not expect that from you either, so there would be no charge to your taxpayer. We are strictly supported by fee-for-service billing of patients and their insurance companies, primarily the latter. The company's been around. I can tell you a little bit about the company since 1964. The same owners have held it. It's a privately held company since 1978. It is the largest ambulance service in the capital region from Newburgh north to Canada, actually. We have 36 emergency vehicles and a staff of 250 employees. If you want us, we're here.
You are? Thank you. John, I don't know if you would like to, I know you and Wes have chatted and you have some thoughts on Mohawk coming in as well, and
Yeah, no, we,
want to share that a little?
you know, as we were talking about, we've had a good relationship with both companies. It's important that we basically continue to do something as well. The only thing that, and we talked with Rems about the changes in services, that type of thing way back when, and it's unacceptable. You know, as far as I'm concerned, it's my family, my residents, my company is all affected by any level of change of service. So, you know, I've always been a very good supporter of a home-based service, but, you know, if we're going to go back to a second level of response, that's unacceptable to me, it's unacceptable to my company. It's unacceptable to me personally because it does affect all of us here. Mohawk, we have worked with Mohawk, and understanding it might be a little bit more time as far as the response goes. We have worked with Mohawk. Mohawk has come into Princetown on occasions when REMS has not been available, and we have had the paramedic service come up just recently, this last winter, when we had a snowmobile accident. And very professional service, and we welcome, you know, basically knowing that we have a primary level of service that's going to serve each and every residents of the town without any compromise. And that's where I really have an exception to what has been happening with us as far as any type of future contract. That's something the town and the organizations work with. But me as a first responder, as the chief of the Plotico Fire Company, as a resident of this town, I think it's important that we get the quality service, irregardless of who the provider is. And so we do welcome, you know, as far as any type of relationship that will be established in Mohawk. We'll work with a transition, hopefully, with Dan. And, you know, actually, we know both these guys from several years, being on EMS council with them and that. So I think we'll have a good relationship as well there.
Could you also share with the board right now the situation with paramedics? If you guys need a paramedic?
Our paramedic level response right now to the town basically stops at the town line. Several years ago, previous town boards did not enter into any type of relationship or contract with Rotterdam to provide any paramedic service to our town. When they first were established, we did get paramedic service up here. You know, they do respond across the town line. We have something that's in a dire emergency, a cardiac arrest or a severe auto accident and that. But other than that, it's basically, which is a protocol today too. You know, you meet the paramedic en route so that we're not wasting time on scene waiting for paramedics to go. It's a low and go situation, they'll meet en route. As far as our services, it has always been just basically town line or meeting en route as well.
So this is a little bit better service than.
So paramedic level service,
Right,
obviously, our paramedic response available to us at all times. A lot of times our paramedic does come from the city of Schenectady sometimes. And as well, as mentioned earlier, we've had responses from Mohawk paramedic as well on some of our calls because our other paramedics were not available due to the town line. So it's not unusual that we've had an out of town paramedic respond to us. So basically this is an improvement in level of service all the way around. And it's kind of important for us too, because if we know who's responding, then we know what type of response we can plan for as well. And if talking with Wes, I'm sure that Pine Grove would agree as well. It's important to know that we have X type of service coming, because then we can kind of anticipate when we're trying to do any type of patient care, how we're going to be handling that situation down the road as well. You know, so like I said, you know, we've had a great relationship with both organizations. We've always supported the home organization, but anything that compromises patient care, compromises residents in town, I'm sorry, I can't buy into it. So we do welcome the relationship that we established with Mohawk as well.
We welcome you as well. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
You guys have any questions for these gentlemen from Mohawk?
Yes, what's the difference in response time between REMS and Mohawk?
We estimate based upon where our main station is and where REMS' station is about 5 minutes to the average call. It would depend, of course, on where the call is, where our ambulances are. Many times our ambulances are on the road. If we have something that's more toward your area and we get a call in Princetown, we're going to send the closest unit. All of our ambulances have GPS on them, and by that I mean two things. One is a little Garmin device we all have in our car, no big deal. They also have a GPS transponder on the roof that integrates with our CAD system, so our dispatchers can tell in real time on an illuminated mapping system exactly where our ambulance is.
Well, you're housed where?
Our base in Schenectady is 793 State Street, right around State, just above Knott Terrace on State.
And REMS is on,
What is that address?
There's
They're,
two stations.
They're 101 Princetown Road, or they're coming off of, I think it's 1002 Cardiff. It depends which rig is in service.
and you're estimating there's only gonna be a 5-minute difference in?
If, for us to get from our station to their Princetown Road station, it's only gonna take us 5 minutes.
I anticipate too, part of that, like, we service the lower part where Princetown goes down to 5S. Chances are they may beat us down there by the time we get a response going, which has happened, on occasion. Whoever gets there to get there first and work with them accordingly. But, you know, if they're shooting out State Street coming up 5S, they may be at the lower part of Princetown, a lot quicker than maybe the first responders can get there as well, especially in bad weather.
If a call comes in, you're gonna be the first responder?
We're going to be your primary ambulance responder. Your first responders will still be your fire companies who do a terrific job. So
Right.
you've got care going right away. Not every town has that benefit, so I want to make that point. You're fortunate, you have fire companies that do provide EMS first response and do an outstanding job. So they will probably, more often than not, be there first, and then we're going to come in second with the transporting vehicle and the paramedic.
So Mohawk will be the first call after, if there's an ambulance needed.
If that's what you wish to do, yes, sir. We're agreeable to that if that's what you want.
And
We're
REMS
here to
is gonna
serve
be-
at your pleasure.
And REMS is gonna be second? If a call comes in, it's
And the
primary?
primary is not available, then it goes to a muitual aid
It
situation,
goes to mutual aid in the
correct?
county, correct,
So it could
correct.
be REMS, it
Could
could
be.
be,
It could be DVAC, it could be REMS, I mean, it
could be
extraordinary.
Western Turnpike,
Could be Western
well,
Turnpike, it
depends on the-
depends, you know, no matter
who
who.
else, John?
We've had GABAC come, we've had,
Right.
like I said, DVAC's been down, Western Turnpike, occasionally. You know, if you have a day that you have a lot of activity going on, good chances are that you're gonna go to a mutual aid plan, with the ambulance. But one of the things we do have enhancement is that, all the ambulances do have, radios that are in tune with fire frequencies. So we do have a way of communicating to provide patient information and plan accordingly as well. So Mohawk has it as well as REMS. Western Turnpike, I don't think, because they're out of county, it's a little different that way.
Anyone else? Are we happy with this?
Well, I guess we've got no choice, the way it is right now.
I'm very pleased with it. I think it's great.
Yeah, we'll make it work for sure, you know, 'cause the first responders, so basically one of our goals is stabilization, patient packaging. So whenever they get on scene, and same thing with REMS, you know, basically then they're ready to be transported, turned over and transported to the hospital. So both situations, so will work out. And like I said, we'll be working with Mohawk as well as REMS to continue looking how we can improve our service coordination as well. One of the other things we are working with too is we're starting to develop a relationship with Dr. Funk is our medical director, and I think Dr. Funk is associated with Mohawk as well, so we have a little bit more coordination as far as any medical issues that have gone through, as far as looking
Very
at
good point.
quality
Dr.
control,
Yes,
things like that.
Dr. Funk is Dr. Deborah Funk is also our medical director for Mohawk Ambulance. All of our paramedics work under her license. She's a board-certified emergency medicine physician who practices at Albany Medical Center.
And used to be a town resident.
Yes, correct. Used to be a town resident now lives down the road and around it.
Yes, she does.
Yes, you're right, yes.
Has Mohawk ever looked into having a substation on this end of town at all?
We have not. I think it's fairly public knowledge. We were very interested in working with the town of Rotterdam. That didn't pan out at the time. We're still optimistic maybe down the road that might. If it did, we would certainly be looking to maybe, jointly serve Rotterdam and Princetown. The economies of scale would certainly favor that kind of a model for us. For 6 calls a month, which is what I'm hearing the volume is, it'd be very difficult on average, right?
Right.
For us to put a truck out here economically. But if we can work something out, I'm not saying we will, but if, should that happen, when Rotterdam, should that door ever open again in the future, we would certainly want to do something. We try to invest in all the communities we serve. We own buildings in all the major cities and towns we serve. We're putting a 4,000, how many square thousand? 4,000 square foot building we're finishing off now in Glenville. We bought, it was vacant, put back on the tax roll, so we're certainly interested in that sort of thing.
Well, with that, gentlemen, we thank you.
Thank you for having us, and thank you for your time.
And I think it should be noted, these guys put together an agreement in 4 days and did not hesitate or question serving our town, and I think it's tremendous, so thank you.
Thank you,
very
ma'am.
much.
Thank you, gentlemen.
And I do have a resolution on further on in the agenda to,
Okay.
to
Okay.
vote on the agreement. I also, I'm assuming we're all in agreement, we'll be sending a letter to John Nusbeck tomorrow,
Okay.
and with the request that you asked that when the call goes out, that it's specified as for Princetown resident.
Yes, please. Mhm.
Will do.
Okay.
And I also spoke to John today, so he knew you guys were coming tonight, and, you know, we were concerned about a day lapse there, so,
Okay, very good, ma'am.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Nice to see you. Okay. And they were tremendous. I think it's a shame that we couldn't work it out with REMS. However, I still think 22,000 is too much. I think you guys agree, and I don't think that Princeton residents should have the burden that the other town in Sherman doesn't. So, we have to wait for public comment. Sorry. So let's go move on to minutes. Do I hear a motion that meeting minutes from November 1st, 2011 be accepted as presented? All in favor? Aye. Five ayes. Old business, town hall, Trooper Barracks, water. George?